Hey, what's up? This is Joe. In this video, I begin making the last of my preparations before heading out west. Putting my bike to the test in the mountains after my latest repair, checking out the incredible Virginia Museum of Transportation, taking one last journey into the woods in my Honda Element, and finally hitting the road again as I begin the long journey towards Sturgis. Having spent the majority of the past 3 months more or less stationary, my salvation was finally at hand, and I could almost taste the bugs in my teeth as I prepared to hit the road. So as you know, if you've been following this channel, I've had some issues with my shoulder. I thought for sure that the doctor I saw was going to want to do surgery. That turned out not to be the case, which is unusual because usually surgeons like to do surgery. So he's telling me he doesn't think it's 100% necessary right now. So I'm just going to trust his opinion for now and hope that the shoulder continues to sort of get better. So yeah, at this point, nothing else to do but ride the hell out of the bike for the next couple days and make sure that that repair is holding up. If there are no other issues that I'm going to experience, 200 miles down the road, and then wait for a good break in the weather and then start heading west towards Sturgis at a very slow rate, taking a lot of back roads and stuff. I took it for a short spin for a few miles to see how it was doing, and the more I rode it, the more I realized that the clutch does sound a little different than before, but when I pull the clutch in, the sound kind of goes away. I'll start up the bike so you can hear it. All right, so here we go. I'm going to pull the clutch in. Doesn't sound like it's rattling or chattery, but it does sound a little bit different. And I don't know if it's just because of the Barnett friction plates or what, but it seems to be riding fine. So now I'm going to take it on a little bit of a longer trip through some of my favorite roads in this area and head up to the Roanoke Transportation Museum. It's one of the coolest museums ever, so let's go check it out. From my family's place, I headed north on narrow country back roads toward the city of Roanoke. Just for the hell of it, I decided to make a special stop to a furniture factory where I used to work shortly before embarking on this current life of mystery and adventure. As an interesting kind of a side note, this is a furniture factory that I used to work at as a upholsterer. Basically, I'd wake up early every morning, start up my bike and ride to work, no matter rain or shine. Come and punch in here and stay here for the next 10 hours or so, learning the upholstery trade, which I loved. It took me months and months before I finally started to get a grip on it. There was a lot of stuff going on in there that just kind of wasn't really good for me to be around at the time. Ultimately made the decision to go back to another job I had with a really good friend who had a furniture consignment business. Drove his box truck for a little while and then ultimately hit the road permanently. Certainly the skills that I learned in that place have come in handy, particularly when it comes to upholstering anything or dealing with any kind of seat covers and stuff like that. Eventually I made my way into the city and began looking for the museum, which was conveniently located between the train tracks and a major bus terminal. Nice that the Museum of Transportation is literally right across from one of the big bus terminals. Pretty fitting. I think there's a railroad track on the other side. It's a nice model. A lot of detail on that. That's where I would want to be right there. All right, man, that is like a floating city right there. Look at all the rigging on that. Incredible. Sovereign of the Seas. 17th century English Navy ship. Dude, I get the heebie-jeebies just looking at that thing. Single seat, single engine. Must have been a total adrenaline rush flying that thing. And there's the old USS Roanoke. Earlier model. A little more rustic than the battleship. That's pretty cool. That's the famous HMS Bounty, the scene of one of the most serious mutinies in all of maritime history, with Fletcher Christian and Captain Bligh. They didn't like his authoritarian rulership style, and the crew had also become accustomed to the lifestyle in Tahiti, which had a lot of beautiful women and was just kind of like an island paradise. So they weren't really crazy about getting back on this and setting sail for England again. There's the cargo hold. Man, that's incredible. It's got a good feel to it. Here we go. This is what I really wanted to see. Wow. That's pretty cool. That's a model of one of Leonardo da Vinci's flying machines that he designed in drawings. Somebody actually created it. That's the helical air screw, they call it. All right, here's a cabin for an Aerojet Commander. Let's check it out. I think I'm gonna have to ditch my motorcycle and my car and just get one of these. Of course, I'd be sitting in the cockpit. Unless I could hire a pilot. Wonder if we can get in the cockpit. No, they got the cockpit blocked off, unfortunately. That looks cool.
It's a great sign.
Here's the little rail yard. Looking at all these incredible machines made me yearn to get back on the road now more than ever. I'm a traveler first and foremost, and while I prefer to do it on a motorcycle, I'll gladly hop on a plane, train, or automobile to get the job done. There's the galley right there, I guess. Far more important than any specific destination or mode of transportation is the very feeling of moving forward and the sense of the scenery changing around you as the seconds tick by. Thus far, the bike seemed to be running fine after my clutch repair, but I still had a few loose ends to tie up before I could leave. Hey, just a quick note, if you enjoy these videos, please be sure to subscribe and consider leaving a donation to one of the links in the pinned comment below. Doing so allows me to keep this channel independent and enables me to continue putting out more raw, unadulterated content in the future. Thanks for the support. Now back to the video. All right, well, nothing really setting off any alarm bells. Bike seems to be riding fine, other than the idle being slightly louder. So at this point, I'm going to give the Honda Element some love. I want to sort of fill it up with ethanol-free gas, put some stable in it, and probably take it for one last expedition into the woods this evening, which is easy because most of my stuff is still in the car. But man, this has just been absolutely heaven sent. Stumbling across this deal in Charleston, South Carolina. I couldn't be more grateful. This car has enabled me to sort of continue living in the woods, even when I couldn't quite do the moto camping type of stuff. So if it were a little better on gas, I would have taken it on some sort of longer trips. I couldn't really do that anyway because I had my physical therapy going on here. I'm probably just going to sort of hang on to it for a little while and use it when I need it. And in the meantime, just kind of give it to my family and let them use it. I mean, with the tailgate down and some ratchet straps on the back, I mean, you could fit pretty much a full couch in there. Just an incredibly versatile vehicle. I'm definitely going to miss the comfortable nights living out here and kind of like propping open the moon roof and looking up and seeing the stars and stuff. All right, once again, I forgot my frying pan, so I got a fire with some hot coals burning right there. I got a discounted New York strip that was like $8 a pound. Once those coals burn down, I'm just going to throw it right on the coals. I love discounted meat, especially when it's a beautiful New York strip like that for $8 a pound. The meat at the grocery store stays good a long time after the sell-by date. But this is definitely a good trick if you're out in the woods and don't have a frying pan or any kind of cooking utensils at all. The smell of that cooking is just absolutely tantalizing. So looks like that already needs to be flipped after a grand total of about 30 seconds on there. So whoa. Oh, it's beautiful. Careful observation has taught me exactly the moment when the meat goes on sale. And personally, with the price of beef, I would never buy anything unless it's been marked down. There's no reason to spend like upwards of like $17 a pound or whatever this normally is. I just kind of go to the grocery stores and see whatever's on sale and then try to adapt. You know, sometimes it's hamburger patties, and sometimes you get lucky and find a New York strip. That right there is how a man is supposed to eat. What a primal feeling it is, throwing a big hunk of meat directly on the coals and then sitting down in nature and chomping into it. I just can't imagine anything better. All right, let's see what we got right here. Let's start on this crispy burnt end. Oh yeah. All right, man, that just looks like it's cooked. Perfect. Steak on the coals. Cheers. It's a little charred on the outside, a little bitter from that, but absolutely fantastic. This is definitely the way to cook a steak. All right, just finished up another book. This is called Riding Rockets, The Outrageous Tales of a Space Shuttle Astronaut by astronaut Mike Mullane. This is another book that I picked up for like $1 at a library book sale. So this guy, Mike Mullane, was an Air Force veteran who flew something like 130-something combat missions in Vietnam as a navigator in the F-4 Phantom II. His eyes were too bad to be a pilot, so he ultimately became a navigator, was fascinated by flight and rocketry in particular from a young age. He used to cook up various types of propellants and stuff like that in his mom's kitchen. In spite of his bad eyesight, ended up becoming a mission specialist at NASA, flew 3 shuttle missions into space, 2 of which were classified. And it's clear as soon as you start reading this book, this is not your grandma's astronaut autobiography. He uses a lot of very coarse language and discusses a lot of admittedly adult situations. Basically, this book kind of harkens back to a time when military men were hard drinking, womanizing, rough around the edges. Some of the pranks and sort of hijinks that they pull in this book would never fly in today's NASA. But, you know, like I say, it was a different time back then. And men used to be men and not have to worry about being PC all the time. And this book is anything but PC. From the first page, it's obvious the guy's got a great sense of humor and just has a brutally honest way of talking about what it was like to be in NASA and be an astronaut and fly into space and stuff like that. So he talks about in this book, like a lot of the people that became astronauts wanted to get into space so badly that they would just about cut their arm off for the chance. And he talks about being in the shuttle right before liftoff and just being absolutely terrified. One of the questions that I used to ask people a lot is, if somebody offered you the chance to go to Mars and you'd be the first person ever to lay eyes on Mars, but there's only a 50-50 shot that you could return to Earth, would you do it? And please answer in the comments below, because I'm really curious about this. I was really impressed with a lot of the sort of technical detail. The shuttle program undoubtedly is one of the greatest feats in human engineering. And you start reading about what actually went on to get those shuttles into space and get them back is just like absolutely mind-boggling. He also talks a lot about what went wrong with the Challenger disaster, which was manned by a bunch of people who had become his close friends. And so it was that much harder for him. Doesn't pull any punches about the toxic work environment that was going on at NASA at the time and how they ignored a lot of what the engineers were telling them about the infamous O-rings and the solid rocket boosters. So there are very few books that I ever read twice, but this happens to be one of them. I probably will read this again. And if not this, maybe another astronaut autobiography for a little bit more kind of nerdy technical detail. So highly, highly, highly recommend this book. Again, not for the faint of heart. And if you don't like profanity and hearing someone tell it like it is, you probably won't like this. But if you don't mind that kind of stuff, it's absolutely a fascinating read. On the way back to town, I filled up the Element with ethanol-free gas. Then once I got home, I added a couple ounces of stable and ran the engine for about 5 minutes to get the juices circulated. All right, so finally ready to start packing up the bike and getting ready to hit the road. The next thing I'm going to do right now is spray my clothes with this permethrin. As I've mentioned before, this has been a particularly bad year for ticks. Carry a bunch of different diseases and stuff like that. I've never used this stuff, but heard really good glowing reviews on it. Basically, you spray all of your clothes and let them dry out for about 24 hours. It's kind of, when the chemical is still wet, it's pretty toxic, so you don't want it coming into contact with your skin. I got some black nitrile gloves. I'll probably put those on, but this big bottle treats up to 5 outfits. And I'm just going to do all my socks, pants, shirts, and my boots. All right, one of the things I was reading about boots is this stuff's not really effective on the outside of the boot, particularly if it's waterproof. But this has got like a cloth interior, so it should be absorbed by the permethrin. I sprayed down all my clothes until they looked completely damp on the outside, then let them dry for a few hours on my makeshift clotheslines. All right, got a little bit of an issue with my action camera, so this button lost its gluiness, so I really don't want any water getting in there. So apparently this sort of silicone-based gasket maker will work, so I'm going to try to very carefully put a little bead on there and see if it'll set up. So after about 4 hours of hanging up, the clothes are nice and dry. So yeah, now I can go ahead and start packing all my clothes and laundry and pillows and stuff into that bag. Amazingly, it all fits in there. Or at least I hope it still fits. Once the sun went down, I headed up the road to check out the 4th of July fireworks display, and I was just about ready. The next morning, I packed the remainder of my gear onto the bike and prepared to leave the state of Virginia in my rear view mirror. All right, it's about damn time to get on this beautiful motorcycle and hit the road. Basically, you saw when I was packing my bike, I always kind of double check and triple check the load just to make sure nothing's going to slip out of there. So anyway, other than that, tire pressure's good, oil's good, coolant's good, clutch cable slack is good, throttle cable slack is good. So honestly, there's some stuff I've been waiting for in the mail that still hasn't gotten here. I kind of wanted to take, but at a certain point, you just got to get on the bike and ride. Initially, I was going to leave tomorrow, but I looked at the weather forecast along the route, and it looks like today is going to be my best window. So typically when the weather's really good, I just ride and ride and ride as much as possible, because I know that that's not always going to be the case. You got to get it in while the weather's good. So that's what I plan to do today. Probably from here heading up into West Virginia, look for a place to camp out there. I've got that really creepy old cemetery that I camped at before. I'm really not keen on the idea of sleeping there again, to be completely honest with you. The vibe was totally weird, and I've camped in some weird places. That was the weirdest. Kind of just taking it easy on the shoulder. I'll probably be stopping a lot along the way, which is going to be difficult because I haven't been on a long ride in a while. So I know as soon as I hit the road, I'm just going to want to ride and ride and ride. You know what I mean? I ate my 2 cans of sardines, which are my breakfast / lunch usually. I don't like to ride with a full stomach, particularly if it's going to be hot. I feel like I'm more focused when I'm a little bit hungry, actually. So yeah, thanks for watching, man. I wish everybody a safe trip to Sturgis if you're going. If not, just be careful anyway. Make sure to keep a loose grip on the handlebars. That's just a reminder. I need to hear that periodically too. Watch out for deer. I've seen a lot of deer already this year. Just don't ride faster than your guardian angel can fly, and don't ride faster than it takes you to see the deer who's just about to step out in front of the road, right in front of you. All right, anyway, let's get to it. Not being able to live off my bike for the past several months had been like a mild form of torture. Finally, I was back on the road with the Black Hills of South Dakota in my sights. It wasn't long after setting out, however, that I realized this would be anything but an ordinary trip. So as always, if you enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe. And as usual, I've included an optional donate link in the pinned comment below for anyone who might like to contribute to this project. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the road.